Bryan Burnham.
God. It almost feels like a blur. I remember the day I went to my mom and got her to help convince my dad to let me play football when I was 12 years old. Going down to his office and in the basement and with my mom, and the excitement I felt when he said, okay, finally being able to start that journey. From the day I can remember, I always wanted to follow in my dad's footsteps. He was a pro football player. He's been through injuries. All I cared about was football. I would get home from school and I would sit outside and wait for my dad to get home so that we could go in the backyard and throw the football around. That's really where my love for being a wide receiver came from. Running around, diving for the ball, making spectacular catches. I can't say enough about what my dad has meant to me through this journey. You too, Mom. You know I love you. He is my motivation. Before every game, I have a picture of his that I look at. It's his Marine Corps photo. My dad was in trenches in Vietnam, ducking from machine gun fire, from sniper fire, from bullets, from real live bullets. And I look at that picture to remind myself, this is football. This is fun. I've always been told that you need to find your passion in life and chase it. And my passion in life has always been football. And I've realized that I have new passions. My wife and these kids are my passion, and that's what I'm gonna chase now. It's hard to believe it's been 9 years since I first signed with the BC Lions. So much love for the city of Surrey, the city of Vancouver, the province of British Columbia, for all of Canada. The CFL gave me an opportunity to truly live out my childhood dream of being a professional football player. I remember late night scrolling through the TV, just bored, and a CFL game popped on. I was like, this is pretty sweet. I knew my sister worked for the BC Lions, and she said she was gonna, talk to Wally and get my film on his table, and that turned into an open tryout. I dominated. I'm not one to really sit here and talk about, myself too much in terms of dominating people on the field, but I dominated people. That season finally got my shot. Trying to think about all the amazing people that I've been able to build relationships with. Specifically thinking about Courtney Taylor. That's a guy who took me under his wing. I'm sure if G. Roy Simon sees this, he'd be laughing because he was sick of the way I ran routes because I ran them like Courtney Taylor. And I remember him telling me, we don't want you to be Courtney Taylor, we want you to be Bryan Burnham. And that's when my career really started to take off. Just following guys like Manny Arsenault, Travis Lulay, watching the way he came in and worked and just approached life and was just enjoyed life. Sean Gore, the same way, man. Just a guy who always had a smile on his face. I almost left BC going into the 2019 season. I almost became a Winnipeg Blue Bomber. Something happened in BC and that I could feel that ended up being Michael Riley. Came to BC, I knew I want to play with Michael Riley. And that's a guy who from day one became one of my best friends. And that led to 2019 as my career year, best year of my playing career. I was just enjoying life. I was enjoying football. Things were great. And again, feels like the story of my life. That joy is taken away. We end up losing a season in 2020, and I went through some dark times. I went through depression, and then my wife and I find out that we won't be able to have kids. And that darkness continued to build through the 2021 season. Trying to put on a brave face for my wife. And because of COVID, I wasn't allowed to go into the doctor's office with my wife. I had to sit in the car in the parking lot And watching her walk to the car in tears over and over really took its toll on me. The 2021 season started off pretty good. We find out that my wife is pregnant. The day that we leave for a game in Toronto last season, my wife calls me in tears, and she had a miscarriage. Here I am about to get on a flight to go play a football game. I just go out and I play. I give my all, I give my everything, playing with just pure emotion. I remember I didn't feel like I could tell anybody. There was one person, and that was Michael Riley. He really had my back through that time, through those moments. And one of the things I'll miss most about being a professional football player is the pain, the bumps and bruises and the soreness. I was dealing with an injury in 2018, and Wally Buono, I remember he actually said something that I joke with guys about, but it's something that truly stuck with me and meant a lot to me. And he came up to me and he said, "It's just pain," and walked away. And then I started thinking, like, he's got a point. It's just pain. This reminds me of a Kobe Bryant quote: "When the game itself is more significant than the pain, and the pain doesn't matter." You saw that this season. I broke my ribs, I punctured my lung, I was in the hospital for a week, but I knew that I loved being out there on the field. So for me, it was easy to fight through that pain. And then I break my wrist, and all of this led to the happiest season of my life. All of this pain, all of the darkness, and it led us to this moment where my wife and I now have 3 amazing little foster kids at home who truly bring me joy every day. I told myself that I'm just gonna go out every day and enjoy every single day to the fullest. And that's because I knew that this was my last ride. I couldn't continue to leave her at home. I couldn't leave these kids. And I just have so much love and respect for this organization right now, and for the way, Rick Campbell built this team. He truly cares about us, and that made this last season truly special. So all my guys, I could go through the entire roster. Nathan Rourke's a kid that I can't wait to tell my son I played with that guy. Lucky Whitehead, Keon Hatcher, Dominique Grimes. Man, this is the most amazing group of receivers I've been around, man. TJ Lee, my brother, man, since day one. Neil McAvoy, thank you, man. Dan Vertley, my agent. It's not a working relationship, man, it's a friendship. Mr. Doman, thank you for taking on this organization. That last game against Calgary in the playoffs was special. I remember just sitting there taking it all in, knowing that this was my last game in BC Place. No better way to go out. My receivers coach, Jason Tucker, that's the dude who has been there and done that. Just walking inspiration. The guy who broke his neck playing this game, man, that's the guy I'm gonna miss. That's the thing, that's what I'm gonna miss most about this is the people. Another coach that I have to mention is Marcus Howe. And so much I learned from him about the game. My OCs, Jay Jack and Jordan, McSimic, man, great guys. And then Kahari Jones. These guys who you could tell that they just genuinely love what they do. It wouldn't have been as easy to make it through these seasons without a guy like Chris Wong, a guy who took care of my body, a guy who's a friend. Tristan, been with him since 2014. And then the unsung heroes who work their butts off and don't get any of the recognition. Aaron Young, Brent, these guys work so hard. And I appreciate you guys so much. Can't help but think about Cato. I didn't get here by myself. There are a lot of people who helped me along the way, like my parents, my sister Shannon and my sister Kara and my brother Lewis. It's not just them, it was all of my aunts and uncles and my brother-in-law Carl, Jackson, Lily, Rosie. I love you guys so much. I can't do this without mentioning my best friends, my boy Jimmy Schneider and Mike Frost and Sean Bronzick and Kenny Ricketts, and just these guys that have meant so much to me growing up. And then, in college, my boy Trey Watts, was my brother, Jared St. John. And there's a man who means a lot to me. His name's Greg Peterson. He was my wide receivers coach, a guy who saw the potential in me and gave me the opportunity to prove it. But for me right now, it's all about going back and being the greatest husband I can be, going back and being the greatest parent I can be, the best son, the best friend that I can be. Next up is life.